Hello. Welcome along to episode 165 of Adventures in Pop. My name is Simon Jacobs. You're radiant today. You're radiant. This is very simple. I want to talk today about my new album, which is coming out in a few days' time, 31st of May. The album is Strange Alien. It is my sixth album. There are 12 tracks on this album, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus in this video on the first six tracks, just give you a little reminder, a little taster of them, because I can't assume that you've been literally following, my every word and watching every episode. That'd be foolish. It'd probably be arrogant as well. So I'm going to take you through the first six tracks in a second video, which I'll make shortly, and probably just put up there online tomorrow. We'll do the second six tracks, the last six tracks. And there is one new video which you won't have seen at all for the very last track, which is called Hay Fever. And that will be forming part of the second video, naturally. So let's talk about this album. I'm in this episode, I'm not going to talk so much about the marketing, the PR, the people who are helping me, etc. We've talked a little bit about that, and we talked about them, and there'll be more to say about them. I'm absolutely certain. I've got a call with them tomorrow afternoon, which I love. Just even saying to you that I've got a call with them fills my heart with pleasure and happiness. So let's just talk about the music itself. The album kicks off with the title track, Strange Alien. This came out last summer, so it's taken a whole year to kind of release all the so far 11 tracks, and it'll be the 12th on Friday with the album, and that's natural because you don't want to be releasing a single every 10 minutes. Maybe once a month is about right, so that feels okay. It's probably worth saying that in the course of releasing all those singles, I've had time to work out what happens next on album 7, but let's not get bogged down on album 7 when we're still talking about album 6. So it kicks off with Strange Alien. Strange Alien is the story of living alone and suddenly realizing that a strange alien from outer space has basically come to live with you, unannounced and uninvited. And so the song starts off with a kind of, what the hell's going on here? How did you get here? How did you get in? All those kind of very obvious, quite practical questions like, what's going on here? By the time you get to the second half of the song, the protagonist, me basically, is quite clearly forming quite a nice bond with the strange alien, getting on really well, and is now beginning to worry about what happens if the neighbours find out that I've got an alien in the house. What happens if you get taken away? I'd be really upset. So it goes from slightly accusatory to being rather kind of almost sad, worried. What's going to happen? I don't know how long you're staying. Because the other thing is the alien doesn't say a single word. So there's a line in there which says, you haven't said a word to me, but it's clear that you understand, perfectly. So that is Strange Alien. Let's have a little listen, just a little clip of Strange Alien.
Oh, it's hard to explain. I don't know where to begin. Oh, there's a strange alien living with me. It switches on the lights. It turns on the TV. Oh, there's a strange alien. It seems to know its way around. It likes to take a bath. It doesn't make a sound.
Okay, the second track on this album is a song called Tongue Tied. And it's probably worth saying at this stage that there is a kind of, I suppose it is a motif on the album overall, which is that it is a bit more rocky, it's a bit more guitar driven than previous albums. Some of that is samples as usual, but increasingly I'm using the electric guitar and the acoustic guitar to kind of beef up the sound and give it a bit more of an organic kind of feel, which I really like. I really enjoy doing it. I wouldn't say I'm particularly brilliant at either of those two guitars, but it's not going to stop me trying. So Tongue-Tied has some real kind of, power chords going on in there. And it's a song I was a bit unsure of when I wrote it, and I wasn't quite sure what it kind of amounted to. And then as time went by, as I've said before, time goes by, you either start to get really bored of your song, or you start to think actually it's no good, you start picking it apart, or occasionally it grows on you. It goes the other way. You start thinking, wasn't sure about that, but now I really like it. So Tongue-Tied, second track, goes a bit like this.
How do you know when loving turns bad? I guess we should be grateful for all the love that we had. You called me every name under the sun. You know I wouldn't do that to anyone. Or maybe you won't be surprised. Can't move, you got me paralyzed. Now I'm tongue-tied, I'm terrified, we're running out of time to make it up to you.
Great. The third track is called I Breathe With You. Maybe this might be, I know we're not allowed to say this, but it might be my favourite track on the album. Might be. And obviously next week it'll be something different anyway. But again, quite guitar driven and kind of, it's big and bombastic and a bit ludicrous, this song. And this is the true story of having a first date, with a potential romantic interest on a Monday morning. I've got to tell you, actually, it was exactly 10 years ago yesterday. So this is the story of dating on a Monday morning, on a rainy Monday morning at 8:30. I think we arranged to meet at Starbucks, and actually Starbucks was closed, so we went somewhere else, thank goodness. And, well, the rest is history, as they say, and there's some of it is told in this story. So that's fun. It's driven by a sample. I mean, the song basically grew out of a sample of a lady's voice singing I Breathe With You. And I just loved it so much that it didn't take very long to put the rest of the song around it. And, well, here it is.
I think it might have been me that said, it's Monday, it's raining, I might go back to bed. I know our desires could lead us to ruin, but I can't think of anything else to be doing. I breathe with you. I breathe with you.
Thank you. Okay, the fourth track is a song called Changes. It's written probably about a year and a half ago, at least, possibly more. And Changes is about anticipating that things are about to be different and being quite happy about it, looking forward to things being different, even though there's a sense in this that the changes might be quite tricky, but it's all for the best. And actually, again, if that is a true story, which I think it kind of is, there's a bit of truth in there. It is all for the best. So that's rather nice. Changes, the fourth track on the album. Here's a little clip of that.
If you get hurt, you'll feel the pain. But you gotta fall down if you wanna get up again. It seems that everybody knows that there's changes coming.
which brings us to my imaginary friend. And I probably mentioned this to you. I mean, when I think of this song, I immediately think about the fact I went to a Crowded House concert and this song started writing itself in my head on the way home on the London Overground. So this would have been a couple of years ago now when this song began to kind of formulate. Again, another one of my kind of favourites because it's just so daft. I've never had an imaginary friend. I don't know why I was writing about an imaginary friend, but the conceit here is that here I am in sort of middle age, and I'm just beginning to realise that maybe I'm a bit old for having an imaginary friend. So I'm saying goodbye to my imaginary friend, and that essentially is the song. Crazy, but fun. And I did actually say to this guy Dan, who is part of the PR company who are helping me out with this, I did sort of say to him, actually, when you look at it, a lot of the tracks on this album, they kind of come across as dead serious, but they're not. Some of them are kind of a bit deadpan because there is humour in the track, and certainly My Imaginary Friend, it's so bonkers. If it was taking itself completely seriously, I think we might have grounds to worry. So My Imaginary Friend is track 5. Here's a bit of it.
You were there for me when I didn't know where to turn. Always there when I had so much to learn. You always knew exactly how I'm feeling. You always knew when I needed healing. But all good things must come to an end. My imaginary friend.
So finally, for this video, as we get to the end of what we might have once called side 1, that really does age me, doesn't it? We'll delete that later. The sixth track is called Fall in Love with Me. There is so much vocal going on in this, so many voices. The difficulty here was just kind of getting the voices to work, making sure everything was really in tune, making sure the tone was good, that all the harmonies actually worked, that you can hear everything. So there's a lot going on in this. It's called Fall in Love with Me. The song is basically saying, don't fall in love with me. We are good as friends. And as soon as we change it from being friends to something else, no. I'm saying to this person, don't fall in love with me, and if it's beginning to happen, please go back, take a step back, and let's go back to being friends. And that is essentially this song. It was just an excuse to write a big, epic song with lots of vocals. So here's a little clip of Fall in Love with Me.
I couldn't see the warning signs of flashing all around like traffic lights. I think I heard them calling, but I turned my back and walked into the night. I didn't think I'd ever lose my grip of what is real and what is fantasy. I thought you knew much better than to fall in love with me. Love is a minefield, you can sense the fear is all around. Love is a mirage, you think you're near, but it's never found.
Okay, that's part 1. Part 2 is to follow. And as I say, part 2 has got a brand new track, track 12, called Hay Fever, which is not going to be released as a single, but will be on the album and actually I have, just so you know, I have pitched it to the Spotify editorial board, but only in the last few days, because they wouldn't let me do that until the 11th track, which was Faces of Music, was already out. So side 2 coming up later. You take care. See you very soon. Bye bye.